So I wanted to talk a little bit about the Chinese version of Pokemon Unite, and I've been hesitant to log in and play. Like, I was able to figure out a way to download it and all that. There's like weird hoops that you have to jump through because the game was not released globally, right? It was released for the Chinese market. And I've not been that excited to check it out for a few reasons. It's not because it's not cool. It's actually because I think it's very cool. And a lot of people have noticed all of these amazing features that are in the version. And I just kind of wanted to get all of my thoughts out on that version and the version of our game here in this video. So come along with me, Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw. Also, I should mention that there will be some footage from El Chico Eevee as well, and some other stuff I found online, but it will mainly be Chris and Eevee in this video, so shout out to them. First, I've heard a lot of people asking, why don't we have blank in our version of the game? And I want to say, yes, I fully agree with you, and also I'm just going to tell you the reason is because it was being developed the entire time we were playing our game. In a way, you could look at our game as a beta for that game. Oh god! But I do think that there are some silver linings with that, and then there are some unfortunate truths that could be possible with that as well. One thing that is true is this game was being developed for 3 additional years. That is the reason that there are cooler things in this game. They do have a couple of tricky things coming up with this. One is that they have talked about how the ranked version of this game, which we are watching Chris Heroes play, by the way, I decided not to end up logging in and playing it because I think I would just be disappointed. And then by the time I decided, maybe I'll log in today, I hear it's having problems if you're not in China anymore. So fair enough. We're seeing Chris play it, and I've watched a few of his streams while he's checking it out a bit. They have a few problems coming up, and one is that they are bringing this ranked version into our global version of the game as a casual mode to start. My theory, and this has not been something that's been told to me, even though I'm begging to get this information, is that this would be the last season where we're playing our current ranked mode, the last like championship season, and then the future championship seasons would feature that mode in the Chinese version if that mode takes off, right? It feels like this is like a good way to get the global market to be like, hey, check it out, and at the same time in the future, if this works out, this is where we go. So it's like dipping our toes in the water a little bit, but you'll notice some interesting things. Like, there are polished animations in the Chinese version. Part of that, I think, is because of the Nintendo Switch, which I'll get into. But there are better menus, polished animation, the UI is better, it's prettier, there are more things to do, there is an open world, there is more everywhere you look. There are also a few weird systems in it, like you can't pick the Pokemon moves you want right away. You have to play the Pokemon more and more and then start to unlock them. There are more gacha mechanics inside there, which I'm sure a lot of you wouldn't love. I mean, the gacha mechanics are a reason that we lost 2 countries that can play this game, so that is very unfortunate. I think all of this together creates a lot of interesting possibilities for the game, and it creates this bright future that we might not be given. So yeah, that's the reason I didn't want to log in right away, is because part of me didn't really want to know what I was missing. All right, so imagine this, like, check this out. What if this was something that could happen? What if you, like, let's say a you from the future came, or a you from an alternate reality. Oh boy, a you from an alternate reality came, and it came out of a portal, and it was like dressed better than you, looked better than you, it was like fit, it had those 15 pounds that you've been trying to lose forever. Like, it didn't have that. It was ripped, it had a 6-pack. At one point the wind blows and you could see its shirt kind of fly up. You're like, whoa, do I have a 6-pack in this other reality? What the heck is going on? They just seem happier and better and more wonderful, and then they're like, hey, do you want to come see what it's like in my world? Part of me doesn't want to see it. Part of me doesn't want to know how much better it could be. But from watching a lot of this, and from watching it as it's been through development, we see that there is a lot of better stuff that is out there and could come to this game. Again, with a different game that has been in development for 3 additional years, but a game that is in parallel development in so many ways, and so many of the changes that have come to the Chinese version have come over to our version. Like, Machamp's Unite move behaves like it does in the Chinese version. And as these games continue, the question that will continue to be out there is, what is the point of developing 2 separate games if we are going to continue developing 2 separate games? Now, if they decide that the global version of Unite just isn't for them anymore, it is what it is. We'll get a couple new Pokemon releases, and then eventually the game goes away, like most all games do at some point. But if they want to continue developing the global version of Unite, then it actually makes a lot of sense that we come closer and closer to what I often talk about as the global merge, or Pokemon Unite 2.0. A lot of people have theorized, and I think there is some validity to this, that possibly the Switch and Switch 2, that changeover, could be part of what's holding this back. If you look at a lot of the footage and you look at some of the differences here, you can tell that first off, this game was only designed for mobile. It was not at all designed with the Switch in mind, and it's running on things that are all more powerful than a Nintendo Switch. So this is the question that is presented in front of us. Is it the Switch? Is it Unite Global? Is it that these two games have nothing to do with each other at a certain point and they're just happy to have this out in China? I'm not sure, and that's what we're gonna find out, I think, as the months drag on, especially through this championship season. One thing is for sure, having China on the big stage at Worlds was a clear indicator that they want them involved in the competition for Pokemon. They want them to be at Worlds. They want a presence from mainland China at Pokemon Worlds, and they are doing everything they can to make that happen, and that's what Pokemon Unite is. Sort of a bridge between the global market and the Chinese market, which notoriously have not connected at all. If Pokemon could nail this and these two versions could come together, it would be massive. But this could be another situation where Pokemon or any game company, excuse me, not just Pokemon, has a game that is continued to develop in China and doesn't get as developed in other parts of the world because it's not making as much money. There are some indicators that would make me think that isn't the case. Again, Netherlands and Belgium being removed from Unite leads me to believe that possibly at sort of that drop dead date, when those countries are gone, that's when we could see Unite 2.0 get its global release. We also could see it slowly happen over the course of the next year or so, or not at all. I don't know. There's so much to look forward to with this game, and then there are so many moments that make me feel like, dang, they could just stop updating. It could always happen, and I hope they don't. In fact, in every survey that comes out, in everything that comes out, I think we need to be talking about how we would love so many of these features and so much of what we see in the China version in our game, because man, it looks so cool. Although quite different. There are things that I actually think are way better about our version of the game, but it would be really cool to have what is clearly a game that has been in development for 3 additional years come to the global market. Again, it's possible it has something to do with the Switch. Maybe the Switch already doesn't run this game very well, and they're hoping that the Switch 2 could kind of run Unite 2, because as far as the version of Unite for China is concerned, that is their version of Unite. They don't have a Unite 2 on the horizon. But if Pokemon was smart, I think they could do a huge push for Pokemon Unite 2, basically. I've seen so many comments, so many people online who have seen videos, images from all this, you walking around the open world. I've seen so many that just say, like, I would download Unite again in a second if this was in the game. I'm hoping that's what we see, and we'll see if there continues to be a way to log into the Chinese version. I probably will log in and start checking it out. For now, I'm going to hang out here in Global, and I'm going to hope we start to see these changes. I know that we have the new mode coming to the game early next year. I'm hoping that's Pokemon Day with a bunch of big stuff coming. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I love you, appreciate you, and I will see you all next time. Man, I couldn't even get through my sentence there because I had another thing in my head. I also wanted to say big shout out to Chris Heroes. This is all footage from Chris, who's checking out the game. So shout out to you. I know him and I have been talking back and forth, like, do we play the Chinese version? Like, how much time do we put in? Like, are they gonna bar us from it? Do people care about it because people can't play it? It's like we're in this really weird spot right now where we have this thing that we're all excited about, but we actually don't know if we're going to be able to get to use it at all. And I think that's kind of a weird place to be in. But hey, I'm right here with you. Love you guys. We did it. Did I yeehaw? I had to have. I'm not going to do another yeehaw. Yeehaw.